Hi, I'm Jennifer Mecham of Jennifer Mecham Designs, and today we're going to be assembling this back to school bus card. This card is oversized and would work great as either a gift card or a tabletop decoration as you're getting ready for the back to school season. Let's first go through all the pieces of the card. The card has several layers to it. These layers in particular make it really easy to assemble. Let's look at those first. So we have a yellow layer, a blue layer for the bus, a golden layer, an orange layer, and then the black layer. And then this yellow layer, which will be the back of the bus. And then the white layers are the pages that are in between the bus. And then we have some glue and scissors, apples, crayons, some different vinyl pieces that will be going on, and the wheels. To get started, I'm going to set the school bus pieces to the side for now, and I'm going to focus on assembling the little parts that will be on the interior pages. And I'm also going to set aside these labels. We're going to start by assembling this set of crayons. And I like to make things as easy as possible for you to assemble without small pieces. And so I just want to show you that this is done by layering different pieces. So we've got the crayon background, which is red, and then we've got a green section that will become a green crayon, and then we have a blue crayon that will go on top, and then we have the labels. So this will come down, and then we'll do again the red, the green, and the blue. And then next we'll have an apple. And for the apple, we have just 3 layers here. So we have a brown, a green, and a red layer that create all the pieces. And then for the scissor and the glue, we have a gray background. We have the scissor handles, and then we have an orange layer and a blue layer and then a white layer. And then the wheels on the bus have a white layer and a gray layer. So I'm going to go ahead and just glue those pieces together, and then I'll be back to show you how they apply to the interior pages. For these small intricate pieces, I like to use a glue with a fine point on it, and this happens to be the one that I like. It's the Tombow Mono Liquid Glue. I'm not associated with them in any way, but this just happens to be the one that I like. It doesn't wrinkle, and it works really well. And I also like the small size. So that's what I'll be using as I glue all these layers of these small objects together, and then I'll meet you back here. So I finished assembling these 3 back to school icons and the wheels, and now I'm going to set those aside, and we're going to start layering our items on top of the center card inserts. So these 3 items are going to be layered on the very back page, and so the crayons will go here, the glue and scissor will go here, and then the apples will go here. So you're going to simply just center that within the frame and glue those down. And then next, the middle page is going to be where we will put the ABC 1, 2, 3, and then your grade level sign. So whichever grade you want to make this card for. I have words for preschool all the way up through 12th grade, and you can add those there. If you want to add multiple grades on here, this would be the spot to do it. And you can either just cut a little, about a 1/4 inch wide white piece of cardstock and glue it on down in here to whatever height you want, and then add multiple grades. This would be a great page to do that on if you have multiple children. So then that would go here. And then the last will be this back to school banner will sit here on the very front. I'm going to go ahead and apply those, and then we'll jump back and work on the front of the bus. I'm back again. I had a thought. I'm just trying to make sure I can see the spacing for this banner here. So I am trying to space this out on my cutting mat in between some guidelines. If you don't have that, you can just use a ruler. And then I take my vinyl and I fold it in half and crease it so I know where the center line is. And then I find the center here, and I like to line that up and then try to make sure that the letters are also centered top and bottom, which is a little hard for me to do on camera without getting my head in the shot, but you can get up close to it when you're making your own. So this looks pretty good to me. So I'm going to go ahead and set that down, and then I'll use this tool to push them down and then peel it off. We're at the very last stage of just assembling these interior pages. So I'm going to use adhesive for this and get this going. Okay, so that page is done. So these will be stacked and layered like this. And then like that. So I'm going to set these aside for a minute, and now we're going to come to the front of the school bus as well. Okay, so the first thing to do here is I'm going to put this school bus vinyl lettering on here, and then let's line this up and kind of so we can get a pretty close to the middle. So I'm looking at these two pieces right here, these lines on my mat, so that, and trying to center them so that right here will be my middle for my school bus. I'm going to fold that in half, and I'm going to kind of put a little tacky there. Okay, and now we'll line it up. And this does fill this space pretty closely, so get that eyed on there as close as you can, and then set it in place. Okay, that looks pretty good. Yay! Another tip as you are doing this, when you're cutting out your vinyl lettering, if you, make sure your blade is really sharp, and then number 2, slow your speed on your cutter down, and they cut much better. And then I adjust these letters so that they'll cut really smoothly for you as I'm creating this design. So slow your speed down, make sure you have a sharp blade, and yeah, don't rush through the cutting on your cutting machine, whether using the Silhouette or another brand. There we go. We've got those letters in place. These are going to layer like this. And again, I design it this way so that you have as few small pieces to worry about as possible. I also feel like it speeds up assembling the card. So I like to start from back to front. So this is the back piece. Obviously, we've got the black piece as well, but I'm going to put this one here and set this up a little bit. And then I'm going to turn this stack over face down. And then I'm going to turn my glue over and use the wider end on it, which that is one thing I like about this glue as well, is it has this wider tip. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this up. Spread that out a little bit. Don't need to overdo it. Okay, and then I do want to layer these right on top of each other. So can give that a little slide into place if you need to, but this glue does stick pretty fast. Let's adjust that a little bit as well. And if you get it off a little bit, like I did here, don't worry too much about it as you're assembling. Everything kind of works out. So, and I find when I do this on camera, I have a little harder time getting everything lined up as perfectly as I ordinarily like, because I am a little bit of a perfectionist. But just do your best, and it'll all work out. So the next section will be putting this on top of the black background, and we'll add the tires, and then it'll be time to put all the pieces together. Okay, so you'll see on here that there are some perforated lines. You want to keep the school bus top edge away from those perforated lines, because those do need to bend back. Okay. Just fold those out of the way. Okay, so once I had this all glued, I realized I had to go back and add a little glue right here in between these two doors. So make sure you get a little glue right in here when you're putting that together. Okay, we need the wheels. Okay, so let's talk about how we're going to put this card together. I am going to be using my hot glue gun. I'll have it on my low temp and try to keep my fingers out of the way to do this. And that just makes the assembly a little bit easier. You don't have to wait for glue to dry. Okay. I'm making sure my fingers are clean and things are well adhered before I start to put it together. So on the card, I have added some perforations, little marks at the top and bottom that will aid you in lining up the pieces on the interior. And then this piece folds back, and this piece is going to fold back, and that will end up gluing to the back of the bus right here. And then this piece on here will fold forward and will fold forward. So this piece will fold up and forward, and it will glue right here on the front. And then these pages will be glued to the interior. So I'm going to show you the best I can on camera. Sometimes this part's a little difficult on camera, but I'm going to do my best to show you this and make sure that you understand how to do it. So I've got these already folded on their perforations, and then I'm going to fold these interior pieces forward. So these act as a spot for you to glue, but also a spacer for how far apart each layer should be from each other. So we're going to start by taking this front interior page. I call it the front page, and I call this the cover. And we're going to glue it right here. And I'm going to line up this fold mark on this piece right here. And I'm going to hold that up a little bit, and then we'll try to zoom in on that for you. But I have which it's probably hard to see on this black paper, but I have a mark here and a mark here. And that's where this perforated line will line up right there, and then it'll glue down. right next to it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Get that lined up like this. And then I want the top edge of this and the bottom edge to line up with the top and bottom of the black piece. Okay, so I think we have it. There's my little mark here and my mark there. And now I'll take my glue gun, put a little glue in there. And then I'll fold that over and push that down. Okay, so then the next piece is going to go behind it. And so again, I'm going to mark this perforated line. I'm going to line it up with the mark that's here and here, right there and there. And then make sure that this is lined up right there. So you can see that line. Yep. Okay. Add my hot glue. Fold that to the side. And it'll be glued in place. Okay. And then the next piece will go right behind it. And again, there's a mark here to line up that the perforated edge with. Again, so that we have the bright spacing. Okay. Slide that one down just a touch. Okay, and then that comes here. Okay. So the next spot is going to be gluing these to this yellow piece, and that's a little harder to see. So I'm going to lay this side by side like this. Let's see here. So we're going to start from the back and work our way forward. And this is where it gets a little tricky for me to show you on camera. But this piece right here will line up with this last mark is going to be lined up right here, top and bottom with those marks right there. Okay, here we go. Put a little glue and push that down. Okay, and then our next piece is going to come and it's going to be attached right here. So I think I'm going to go ahead and put my glue right here. We'll turn that this way and I can come and see those marks and push it into place. Okay. And then the very last one will be right here. So let me slip that back so you can see what I'm doing. We'll put the glue here. Make sure that you can see this. And then we'll put it down. Right there. Make sure everything's in place. Hold it for a second. And then we have those done. Okay. So this is the last part. This is the easy part. So take a look at how now that has become three-dimensional, and it also will be able to be folded flat. So I'm going to take and put some glue right here. And line this edge up with it. Okay. Make sure we're standing up. We are. And then I'm going to glue the back. Be right here. Right, like that. Make sure that's in place. And here is our final product. So delightful. I love it. I think this would make such a great back to school decoration. This might be a great gift for your student's teacher to have for her back to school night, to sit out on a table. If you're in the PTA, you might enjoy making these for grade level teams and just enjoy this back to school season and the excitement that comes with starting fresh for a new year. So I hope you enjoy this back to school bus and assembling it. I had fun designing it and showing you how to put it together, and I just would love to hear how you liked it and how it worked for you and how you might use it this school year. So it'll fold flat like that, and then it'll also stand up, um, which I'll give you a view of that momentarily. Okay, here's a view of the finished school bus as it looks when it's standing up. Um, and the three-dimensional look of it. Thank you for joining me. I'm Jennifer. Again, I'm Jennifer Mecham from Jennifer Mecham Designs, and you'll find this design in my silhouette store.